Hi, I'm Tom Clark.
Hi, I'm Alicia. I'm 22 and my nan had dementia.
I'm 50 years old and I'm being interviewed about my mother who has been diagnosed with dementia in the last 4 years.
Hi, my name's Tom. I'm 20. Both my grandparents have had dementia. My grandfather's passed away and my grandmother's still dealing with it now.
How did I feel when we found out that a loved one had dementia? I think it's difficult looking back because there was a succession of things that happened. There was a stroke and there was cognitive decline probably a year before. So I think the actual diagnosis just seemed to make more sense for us all, something to be able to process than, because it was a build-up of things, than the actual day that the diagnosis was given. I think it was, the feeling was maybe a bit of relief that we actually had an answer to a lot of things that were happening, mentally for my mum at the time.
It's sort of like a sad feeling now because when both my grandparents were still alive, I was able to visit them in their house, and that was nice in the way that I'd still be able to go there, they'd still be in the house, they'd still just about to be able to look after themselves. But as time's passed on, my grandmother's gone into a care home, it's just gotten sadder and sadder. There's less things to do, there's different things you've got to try and prompt her with and stuff, and it's just got sadder. It's like you go and visit them and you almost feel sorry for them. As much as upset you, you're like, if they could see how they are, it would just be, they'd be like upset, like that's what they're going to become, which sounds a bit deep, yeah.
I think from a family point of view, we're all fairly close and we're very open, which really helps, but it was more the understanding until, I suppose it's like everything in life, until something actually impacts you, maybe you pay a bit more attention. Obviously we're just aware of dementia, but not aware of the complexities of dementia. So from a family perspective, it's emotionally quite brutal. So there's that emotional support you need, but then we spent time, myself and Nick spent time reading and researching and understanding the stages of dementia, because that helps you process it all and how you're going to work with it. And then from a friend's point of view, definitely, even the little things. I'm out with a pal twice a week riding bikes, and he would always ask, how's things with your mum? It's just those little things, you need that release of just a question of recognition and help and support. It doesn't need to be anything more than that. But everyone from family and friends has been really supportive through the process.
Especially my sister, as we were going through the same thing at the same time, I felt like we could really relate with our feelings and care for one another when things was getting difficult, and talk through the process with each other was definitely beneficial.
How do I feel when visiting mum with dementia? That's a really tricky question, because she's quite late stage dementia, every time's different, to be honest with you. I don't have a plan when I turn up. It's because you never know what you're going to get with mum in terms of what mental state she's going to be in. Sometimes she's amazing and you would probably not even know at first sight, or the first 15-20 minutes with her, that she even had dementia. But other times you can turn up and it can be absolutely brutal, to the point, if you're planning to take her out or do something with her, I've had to just read the room and read how she is, and there's just no point. No, she's not going to get anything from it, and we're not going to get anything from it. So feelings are very different. Sometimes you can have a really good day with a visit, and it can be a lovely feeling. But then other days it can be really, really upsetting, because it's just hard. You're not getting anything from the visit. She's angry, she's confused, she takes it out on you. Each visit has its own challenges. Let's say that.
My grandmother's now in a care home, so when I visit her now, it is a bit sad. You know, she'd be bedbound. It's, you know, I have to find different ways to try and prompt her to do things. It is quite a sad experience overall. And like, you know, it's really nice to see her. Sometimes I get moments that I used to have with her. You know, you get things where you see her and you talk to her like, oh, this is like what my grandmother used to be like 5 years ago. But then you go the next day and she's asleep and she just tells you to go away. Oh, nice. Thanks for that.
Is there anything specific that's helped her along the years? Recently, this is just from my experience, I've found that she really liked plants. She was given a plant and kind of obsessed with it, cleaned it, talked to it. So, and she got a lot of joy from that. So, and these were quite small plants. One was a mother of tongue. I actually ended up buying her a plant that stood 6 foot tall because she said she liked talking to them. And my logic was, well, she likes talking to them, why don't I buy her a tall plant that she can stand and talk to? And it had big leaves so she could clean it. It was, again, this had never been in her life. She always liked gardens and things like that, but she was never obsessed with houseplants. But obviously, being restricted that she can't just go out and walk in gardens anymore unless she's with somebody because of the dementia, it was more bringing the outside in and giving her, she had a connection to something. With patients that have dementia, people that have dementia, everyone's different in what they pick up on, and this was just something that we noticed that she liked, so we took it to the next level. And she loves this tall plant that she can talk to. As crazy as it seems, you've just got to find things that kind of make them happy.
She would have like animals that would come into the home, specifically like birds and dogs, and her response to both of them, because I think she loved animals before that, and she'd be like expressing like these memories that she'd had with like her previous pets, because she's always had dogs her whole life, these different memories, and it was like amazing to see that like this response and like pure joy that she would have just like surrounding that. And yeah, so definitely just animals was like such a big thing for her.
When you get dementia, you've got to understand, you know, they're not the same person anymore. So there's things that are going to change. So stuff like photo books helped a lot because it would prompt memory. So there's photos of like my dad, it's my dad's parents. There's a photo of my dad when he was younger, and she would remember exactly where he was at the time and what he was doing. And there's a photo of her with her family in Italy, and all of this. And there's so much like that she can just remember. And there's things like that. And then cooking, before she went into a care home, she was just about able to cook, and that kept her mind going. And then it would just be simple things like that which would help her really.
We used to visit my nan every single Sunday, and we used to go on a dog walk, and we'd go to the local park and play with the dog, play on the swings, play on all the equipment, and then we'd also like go to the post office shop and she'd buy us whatever treat we'd like. And it was always like such a special, I look forward to it by the end of the week, like, oh, I'm seeing my nan, we're gonna do this, and like the treats obviously I was very happy about. Yeah.
I suppose for us it would be the beach, the sea. Mum living on the Isle of Wight for the last 15 years, you know, right next to the sea, walking on beaches is probably the most vivid memory. Kind of growing up in that area as well, spending a lot of time there, and still to this day, she's in Ventnor now. You know, we'll still take her down to the front of Ventnor, have an ice cream, sit on the beach, looking out at the sea. And you can just see, she may not say anything, but you can just see the joy in her face a lot of the time. So, yeah, I think, the sea and the beaches.